You know those scenes in a story that just stick with you? The ones that are so terrifying you just have to pick them apart to see how they tick? Well, that's exactly what we're doing today. We are going to deconstruct a capture scene, piece by horrifying piece, and really look at how an author builds that kind of suspense and just dismantles a hero right in front of us. And this one starts exactly where you'd expect a horror story to, with a descent into the unknown. I mean, this single line sets the whole atmosphere. But it's not just about a physical place, is it? It's a psychological one. It's unfamiliar, it's unsettling, and you get the sense that it's huge. And right there, that's the hook. That's the core idea we're digging into. It's that moment when simple curiosity twists into a desperate fight for survival. This isn't some passive look around. It becomes this active, terrifying engagement where our hero suddenly becomes the object of a very, very different kind of exploration. Okay, so let's get into it. The setup. How does a writer take something as simple as a dark cellar and turn it into a stage for absolute terror? Well, it's all about planting these little seeds of dread, these clues that just ratchet up the tension bit by bit. It starts with that feeling of being lost, a cellar with no map, a hole that's just not right. It's man-sized. But then it gets personal, a single shoe. It wasn't just dropped. It feels like it was placed there, which implies a previous victim. And then you hear it. That sound, the small, shuffling feet. And that's when you know, with chilling certainty, she is not alone anymore. And boom, there it is. That's the pivot point. The fear isn't just a vague feeling anymore. It's real, it's immediate, and it is right behind her. All that psychological dread has just become a physical threat. So now we're into the rising action, where that encounter just explodes into an all-out conflict. But this isn't some one-on-one fight. This is a battle against a totally different kind of enemy. And our protagonist, a warrior named Valoran, is about to discover she is completely, terrifyingly outmatched. This right here, this is the whole problem for our hero. It's a total tactical mismatch. Valoran does what a warrior does. She uses focused, individual strength. She hones in on one enemy to destroy. But the gremlins, they don't fight like that. They're not attacking her, they're attacking the problem, which is her, from every direction at once. It's individual power versus the overwhelming force of a coordinated swarm. And the way they attack is just brutally efficient. It's a masterclass. First, they take out her greatest asset, her strength and balance. That trip isn't an accident. It's a tactic. That stun gives them the tiny window they need, and by the time she even begins to recover, the horde is already on top of her. They turned a split second of vulnerability into a total takedown. This is the moment she loses her edge. But notice how it happens. Her weapon isn't just knocked away. No, it's actively snagged and anchored with ropes. This isn't random chaos. This is intelligent, calculated disarmament. And in that one instant, the entire power dynamic flips. The fight is no longer on her terms. Not even close. And that, of course, brings us to the climax of the capture itself. This is that point of no return. This is the moment where Valoran's struggle officially becomes a defeat. It's when all hope of winning the physical fight is just gone. So what's their secret? How do they pull this off? Well, it all boils down to this one single terrifying idea. They are not just a mob of creatures. They operate as if they're all driven by one mind. This single consciousness is what makes them so horribly effective. Every rope pulled, every knife that cuts, it's all working towards one unified goal: her complete and total capture. I mean, just look at the breakdown. It's like a cold, tactical checklist for taking down a warrior. First, her mobility, then her weapon, then her ability to fight back with her arms, and finally, her very breath. Each step is built on the one before it, systematically stripping away any chance she has to resist. And that's it. It's over. The physical fight is done. Her strength is now useless. Her movements are completely controlled, and her survival, well, it's entirely in the hands of her captors now. She's lost all her power, all her agents, and the story gives us this incredible symbolic shot to seal the deal. As her own lantern is dragged away and that light fades, it's a perfect mirror for her own hope being extinguished. The darkness she waltzed into has now completely and totally swallowed her. You'd think that's the end of the horror, right? Wrong. The horror doesn't stop with her capture. Now we're in the falling action, and the story shifts from a physical fight to something deeply psychological. In a way, the true terror is just beginning, which leads to this really unsettling question that just hangs over the rest of the scene. I mean, she was on the verge of passing out, completely helpless. Killing her would have been easy. So the fact that they don't, that tells you their goal is something much more chilling than just murder. They want something else from her, because this is what they were really after. Not just to capture her, but to unmake her, to deconstruct her. Every piece of her identity as a warrior, her armor, her clothes, is pried and cut away. And those ropes that bound her, they get turned into reins. This isn't about defeating a warrior, it's about erasing one. And this line, wow, it just perfectly sums up the psychological horror of her new reality. It's not just that she's trapped in a cellar. It's the soul-crushing knowledge that no one can hear her. No one is coming. She is utterly and completely alone in her powerlessness. So that brings us to the end of the scene. The resolution, the new reality. The immediate fight is over, but it settles into the state of profound, terrifying uncertainty about what on earth is going to happen next. Her defiance is just gone. And in its place is this awful, humiliating compliance. Her will to fight hasn't just been beaten down, it's been ripped away. All that's left is that raw animal instinct to obey just to survive. And this is the final image we're left with. It's absolutely chilling. The strong warrior who confidently walked into that darkness is now yanked to her feet and led by a leash. The transformation is complete. She's been turned from a person into a possession. The story isn't even subtle about it at this point. The dehumanization is total. She's not a who anymore. She's a what. She's treated like an animal, being led off to some terrible unknown fate. So if you look at the journey of this scene, you can see how the terror evolves so skillfully. It starts with a physical threat, something you can at least try to fight. But once that fight is lost, the horror becomes psychological, rooted in humiliation and degradation. And it all ends on the most powerful fear of all, the absolute, terrifying unknown. And that's really the question the story leaves you with, isn't it? It makes a powerful case that the real horror isn't the fight itself, no matter how hopeless. It's the moment the fight is over, and you're forced to walk, step by helpless step, into a future that you cannot see and are completely powerless to change.